everyone, this is Patricia Brims, physician assistant. It's been a while. I have not done a blog and I'm sorry. I've been working extra in urgent care, which has been a lot, so and doing my private patients, so it's been a lot. So I haven't had time for the medical blogs, but I have been preparing for the next topic, which it actually touches home to me because it's a very rare disease. It's called hypoparathyroidism. And I actually was the first patient that I've ever seen with this disease. So that's how rare it is. And I've been practicing for 24 years. So I've done some research on it to teach you guys what it is. And I've also learned a lot myself about what caused my 3 seizures. This and one other thing, of course, the SIADH. But for those who don't know what a parathyroid gland is, a parathyroid gland is one of the 4 glands that sit on top of your thyroid gland. So we have 2 thyroid glands, obviously, one here and here. Everyone knows about thyroid disease. On top of each thyroid gland, we have 2 parathyroid glands. So in total, we have 4 parathyroid glands. 2 on the right, which is the right thyroid, and 2 on top of the left thyroid gland. So what does the parathyroid gland do, and why does it have importance on our health, and why did it cause me to have the 3 seizures? So let's get to the bottom of it now. So the parathyroid gland actually, its largest role in the body is regulating our calcium levels. As many of you know, and some people may not know, calcium is one of the main minerals which is very important to your neurons in your brain as far as the chemical impulses in your heart, your rhythm. If your calcium is too high or low, it can affect your brain neurons, and it can affect your heart rate if it's too high or low. If you have high calcium, your heart rate can go very high, and you can get tachycardia, and it could lead to problems. And that's why when somebody is on a water pill or a blood pressure medicine, they always regulate the calcium and potassium levels in the heart, in the blood, for the heart reasons. And if your calcium is very low, it can cause a very slow heart rate, which is not good either, because your heart, if it becomes very slow, can actually stop. So calcium is a very important mineral in the body. So is salt, potassium, and as many of you know, especially friends and family, I had 3 seizures due to low salt, caused by a kidney disease, which I can go over in another topic, another session. And then I had the hypoparathyroidism, is a very rare disease, which they didn't find out until maybe after the 2nd seizure. Only until now, I haven't been seizure free for about, geez, it feels like 6, I think it's 6 years, maybe 7 years now, actually 7 years. And that's because I have my calcium very well regulated, and I take a supplement for it, which I'll discuss later, and because I have my salt very well regulated, which I also supplement mostly through diet, but I have to have a lot more salt than the normal person, which I know some people think is crazy because salt causes high blood pressure, but that's not the case with me. Salt is necessary for me not to have my seizures. So is the calcium. So my seizures were directly related to these 2 medical conditions. So I'm just sorry about that. I know I go off rampage sometimes because I get excited over a topic, or all my topics. But so basically, what does parathyroid hormone do? It directly controls the vitamin D. I might repeat myself because it is a very difficult topic to understand. One of the ways it controls your vitamin D is it gets absorbed through the distal tubulins in the kidney, and the tubules in the kidney are very important because they regulate your calcium and your sodium and other minerals in your body. Everyone knows that certain drugs and minerals, and most likely a lot of the chemicals that we absorb in our body goes through the kidney, both the kidney and the liver. Some in the kidney and some in the liver. The calcium is very important when it comes to the kidney. Another way that the parathyroid hormone affects the calcium is it helps your kidney, it helps your bone. So the parathyroid hormone directly helps your bone to absorb or to actually activate a certain form of vitamin D that you need in order to absorb your calcium. So I know it's very confusing, but actually the parathyroid hormone, it actually works on the osteoblasts in your bone, and that helps to reabsorb a vitamin D3, which turns into the calcium that we need to actually live and function. So it's a very complicated process, but the reason why we need parathyroid hormone is for those two reasons. If we don't have the parathyroid hormone acting correctly, it will either increase our calcium causing problems or decrease our calcium causing problems or seizures, like it did in my case. So basically, like I said, if your parathyroid hormone is low, you can't, your calcium will go low, and because we can't get rid of the phosphorus in our kidneys because the PTH is low, or will have too high of a phosphorus. So the blood work that you'll see in hypoparathyroidism is low calcium and increased phosphorus. And those are the two blood work labs that always came back exactly the way that is stated in my blood work: high phosphorus and low calcium. So unless I take a certain form of calcium, because obviously my parathyroid hormone is low, so it's not activating the vitamin D25 to turn it to vitamin D3, I need to take a special form of calcium or vitamin D3, and it's called calcitriol. So without this supplement called calcitriol every day, I would not be able to absorb my calcium, and I would indeed get seizures again. So that's how crucial the parathyroid gland is in regulating our calcium hormones. So what are the two causes that cause low parathyroid hormone? Always think about two different things, and we'll go over them in detail. One is either destruction of your parathyroid gland or absence of the parathyroid gland. So what are the three causes? I'm going to go over them now. We have iatrogenic. Iatrogenic means it was caused. It was caused either by accident or it was caused on purpose. By accident, maybe you get your thyroid gland removed, and accidentally the parathyroid gland, which is on top of it, those get removed with the thyroid because you have a thyroid cancer or a goiter or an issue with the actual thyroid itself. Because the parathyroid glands are attached, sometimes they get accidentally removed with the thyroid. And then we have an actual physical or incidentally, which means not accidentally, a cause where it's on purpose. We remove the parathyroid glands because we have an issue with the parathyroid glands itself. So sometimes if somebody needs a parathyroidectomy, where they remove the small parathyroid glands that I'm talking about, which regulate the PTH, you obviously can't absorb your calcium, so you need to be on a supplement, and your phosphorus will be high. So those two reasons, both accidentally, where your parathyroid glands are removed because of a thyroidectomy, or intentionally because you have a parathyroid tumor or some issue with your parathyroid gland where it's maybe overproducing parathyroid hormone, which is called hyperparathyroidism, which is a bigger topic that I can always discuss at a later issue. Again, we're talking about hypoparathyroidism, which is the not making enough parathyroid hormone, which leads to low blood calcium and increased phosphorus. The second cause of a hypoparathyroidism is autoimmune. Today, what I've learned over the years is that my cause of my hypoparathyroidism was actually autoimmune. And looking back, I believe it's because I was under a lot of stress. I was in a house. My husband was traveling a lot, and I was alone a lot, and it was just a very stressful environment for me. Even though I was in my dream house, I didn't have my partner around all the time. So that was a very stressful time in my life because I was always worrying and, trying to do everything I can and taking care of everything in the home myself, and always just worrying about my husband. But that is what caused my autoimmune parathyroidism. What does autoimmune mean? It means that you have autoimmune antibodies that actually attack the parathyroid gland. And when they attack the parathyroid gland, it stops them from producing parathyroid hormone. So when your parathyroid hormone goes very low, you get the low calcium, which causes seizures, like it did in my case, unfortunately. But at least we eventually found the medical cause by going to a really good medical institution. It was not easy. It took a few years to actually find the cause of my rare hypoparathyroidism. So third cause of hypoparathyroidism is actually a childhood. It's a congenital disease. It's called DiGeorge syndrome. For those of you who have kids or might have been exposed to somebody in the family, their kids who had DiGeorge syndrome, it is just a defect in the chromosome of a baby when they're born. And that's the third cause of hypoparathyroidism, which is also rare. So next, I'm just going to talk about what are the symptoms of hypoparathyroidism. The symptoms you're going to have are the symptoms of low calcium. What are the symptoms of low calcium? And it's funny too, because I remember getting this one symptom in my office when I was working at work all the time, and I was wondering why it happened to me, and it hasn't happened to me in years. So I was just thinking about that the other day. The most common symptoms that you're going to get from low calcium is twitching, usually around the eye area. You'll also get twitching of muscles or maybe hand spasms. Your fingers will spasm where they have a hard time opening it. That happened to me as well. I will know it's been a very long time because I'm actually take a bit extra calcitriol just in case. But I used to know when I wasn't taking enough, when my calcitriol would go low, or my calcium would go low, because my hands would spasm up, and I knew it was my calcium. So now with that knowledge, I know how to adjust what I need to adjust. So always better safe than sorry. And then as far as other symptoms, you'll get muscle contractions, twitching of the leg muscles, cramping of the leg muscles. That's another sign of low calcium levels. Again, like I said, hypoparathyroidism is very rare. You may never hear of it until now, and you may never have somebody with it that you know, family member or anything like that. There's many practitioners who've been working for many years, like myself. I've been working for 24 years, almost 25, and I have not seen any patients in all of my years with hypoparathyroidism. Hyperparathyroidism tends to be a lot more common. I am the first and only patient that I've seen. Two classic signs that we learn in textbook or in school are Trousdale sign, and Trousdale sign is it's a spasm that's physically induced by inflating a blood pressure cuff, and what happens is you will get a twitch in either your hand or your eye or something when the blood pressure cuff is inflated and causes the pressure. That's Trousdale sign. And the other one is Chostek's sign, and that's when you tap on the facial nerve and it causes muscle twitching or eye twitching. When you just go like this, you'll see it. And obviously I don't have any twitching anymore because my calcium is under control because I take a supplement every day. Unfortunately, I can eat all the foods with calcium. I could take a calcium vitamin. I could do everything that in a normal person would increase their calcium level. My calcium will never be normal. It will always be low unless I take this form of calcium called calcitriol, which I can only get in a supplement. And what it is actually a form of vitamin D3, and the vitamin D3 is what is actually helping me to absorb my calcium. Without vitamin D3, we can not absorb our calcium, and most people have vitamin D3. I'm not talking about the vitamin D that people are low because they don't get enough sun. This is a different form of that's vitamin D25. This is vitamin D3. So I hope I'm not confusing anybody, but it is a very rare and difficult topic to understand. So like I said, what is the most, why is calcium so important? It is one of the most important minerals of your body, once again, so you don't forget. and it regulates heart function and your nerves in your brain, and synapses in your brain, and salt also, and potassium. These minerals are all very important, and that's why when you go to a doctor, you get blood work done, your doctor is always keeping an eye on your sodium, your potassium, and your calcium. You don't hear much else about the other minerals when you're getting a blood work done. So if anybody has any questions and they want to review their blood work with me, or they're just interested in what I'm talking about, or they're interested in another topic, please send me a text message and let me know, because I'm not always on Facebook. But I always will respond to your text messages. So we know that parathyroid decreases your calcium. And what are, like I said, calcium, I'm just going to go over what calcium is important for. Once again, it helps your muscles contract. It helps your nerves to work, both in your brain and in your heart. And it helps with blood clotting. That's another, your calcium helps with your blood clotting. And it helps your heart to work. Like I said, it either increases your heart rate when it's too high, or calcium will lower your heart rate when it's too low. So it's very important to keep calcium, potassium, and sodium at a very normal reference range. And that's, again, why doctors check those minerals more than the others. And it also helps your bones to stay strong. Luckily, I have the strongest bones. I have never broke a bone in my body, and I've never been had a severe injury. So I'm very lucky, honestly, that I've never had any problems with my bones, and that we caught this disease in time. Unfortunately, I had to learn I had the disease because I had the 3 seizures, but at least I know, and today I'm very healthy and very thankful. So the importance of phosphorus. We don't talk a lot about phosphorus, but this mineral is found in all of our cells of our body. It's mostly found in the bones. A lot of you probably know that the phosphorus is found in the bones. And what phosphorus is important for is you need it to help the body create energy from food. Without phosphorus, our metabolism might be a little faulty, or not as fast as other people's metabolism might be, and you may not get as hungry as much, which I always was the type to not eat 100 meals a day, because I only get hungry, once I haven't eaten in 8 or 10 hours, and that's been normal for me, for many, many years now. And it's probably because my phosphorus has always been so elevated. So that's what phosphorus is important for. And I only went over phosphorus because the parathyroid gland, the parathyroid gland, when you have underactive hypoparathyroidism or underactive parathyroid, it increases your phosphorus, which is not good, right? And then because it just changes your energy absorption, and it changes your metabolism, and it changes the absorption of the way minerals get absorbed through your bone and the strength of your bones. And then you get low calcium, which is so important for muscles, heart, brain, and just functioning of all the important organs, as I discussed. So what are the symptoms of hypoparathyroidism? Specifically, what are the textbook symptoms, and what symptoms are most common? The most common symptoms, and the symptoms that I actually had, but I didn't know why I had it until I found out, muscle cramps and spasms. I remember one day after coming back from a run, because I used to run, 8 or 10 miles every day when I was really serious about running and I was training. I remember coming back from a run one day, and I think this was after my first seizure. It was right before my second seizure, unfortunately, and I didn't know that I had the hypoparathyroidism. I remember coming back from my run, and I would do some lunges, and I was doing the lunges, and my leg just gave out, which has never happened to me in my entire life. And that's because the muscle cramped and it spasmed, and my calcium was dangerously low. And I guess very short, I think it was maybe a week after that, unfortunately, I developed my second seizure. So it wasn't until after my second seizure, or my third seizure, I believe, that thankfully my husband at the time found a place called Acute, and which was where they diagnose very rare medical issues, and they're very good at what they do. They diagnose things that we don't see every day, and what a lot of doctors and practitioners don't see every day. For example, I haven't seen this in any patients. They diagnose the rarest of diseases, and they were the ones who diagnosed my 2 medical conditions that cause my low sodium, which is SIADH, and my hypoparathyroidism. So I'm so thankful to Acute in Denver, and I have sent them many letters and many thank yous because they saved my life, honestly. Besides the cramps and spasms when your calcium goes low, it can cause brain fog, confusion. I never remember having any of that. I was working, I was doing my job. I was thinking clearly, so thankfully I never had the brain fog or confusion. It can cause tingling and numbness in your lips, your fingers and your toes. I did have the tingling in my fingers, and if my calcium gets too low, I will get that tingling in my fingers. I think the symptoms that I got the most was the tingling in the fingers and the muscle cramps and the twitch in the eye. And also to brittle nails and dry hair or skin. I don't remember any of that, but that's one of the less common symptoms. Tiredness, weakness, I never really felt any of that, although maybe I do remember having to sleep a lot more and having a hard time getting out of bed in between some of those seizures. My energy maybe is a lot better now than it was then. And also too, maybe because I was training then. But long story short, the last 2 symptoms that we can get is headaches. I do remember getting headaches. They kind of felt like migraines. And I only remember that since I actually did some research, because I'm not the type to ever get headaches or migraines, and my heart goes out to people who do get migraines because it's so debilitating. But I don't get headaches now. If my calcium was to go low, I will get those bad headaches, from what I remembered anyway. Thank God, no seizures for 7 years. Once again, I'm very thankful. And then the last thing is trouble with your memory. This happens rarely. I don't recall having any trouble with my memory. Maybe back then I did, and I just don't remember it. But I was practicing medicine and going into the office and recertifying for exams and everything during the 3 seizures, so I don't think I had any troubles with my memory. Thankfully my brain has recovered because I had all the trauma. I did have brain trauma to the extent where because of these seizures, to the extent where I fell down and I split my head open 3 times. I had stitches on both sides of my head. I have scars, and I was fortunate enough to come out of all of this after a depression, which hit the trauma from my brain hit an area of my brain, and the MRI showed that area was directly related to symptoms of depression, which I never had in my life. So thank God, and I'm very thankful that my brain has recovered fully. I've healed from my trauma, from the depression, which was so out of the ordinary for me, and I'm back to myself, and this is about 6 years later. So it took a long time to get where I am today, but I'm truly blessed and I appreciate it. I want to say thank you to all my friends and all my family for all your love and support unconditionally, and thanks to everyone who's watching this. I hope that you learned something. I hope it wasn't too confusing, and I'll look forward to the next blog. And please send me some topics that you're interested in, or some ideas, or something that you want to learn about. Just motivate me for a new topic, and I would love to do it. Okay, thanks so much. Mwah. Have a great weekend. Bye.